Welcome back, everyone. We are Cats in Camo, and we are picking up where we left off last time with our FMK.
So I get to start this time. I get to go first. So if you can see behind me, we actually have steel set up. That's right about 30 feet. I have the FMK. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put rounds downrange. We're gonna do a double tap on the steel to my left, and then we're going to knock each of the 5 fluorescent green zombie heads over, and then we'll finish with a double tap in the alien torso on the right. This is not at combat speed. It is a combat drill, but normally bad guys don't come running at you in order from left to right. But this is more just to get a feel for the gun and introduce ourselves to the FMK firearm. So I'm going to put my ears on and we're going to go hot. Me. And in 10 rounds, that's all I got. This is a sorry excuse for a shooting instructor. This is the part we promised. This is the fun part. This is why Allie's here, to shoot soda and water bottles. I don't know what she has against fluid refreshment, but today she's going to take the FMK and she's going to do her version of my little steel challenge. On the back, she's got 2 generic soda cans, 2 milk jugs full of water, a 2-liter, and then shaving foam that I don't use.
Right?
Someday. But her goal, she's going to take out the milk jugs first, and then the big cola bottle. Because she's mean. Loaded, not chambered. Shaken, not stirred. Push it. And we've made a mess. Cans are a lot harder to hit.
Man, really looking forward to hitting one of those cans.
Battery. Oh!
That was awesome! Alright, well, we're back from the range, ready to give our review on this FMK.
It's time to get judgmental. We put the gun through its paces. We both shot it 2 different times, so in essence 4 different courses that we ran. And what we're going to do is we're going to score it on 8 different categories. We're going to go 1 through 5, with 1 being the lowest score and 5 being the best score you can have. To start this off, we're going to talk about comfort of grip, how easy it is to hold on to, and what it feels like. This gun is actually wonderful. It's a great design. It's comfortable for my hands. I want to like this gun. It feels nice. I'm going to give it a 4.
I would have to agree. I really enjoyed the grip as well, picking it up. It's a fairly decent sized gun, especially for small hands, but it just felt nice. It felt like I could hold on to it and that it would actually do the job that I needed it to do. So I would give it a 4 out of 5 as well.
Moving on to the sights. The sights on this gun are set up similar to a Glock, and they function the way they're designed. I'm going to give it a 3. It's just a standard average sight.
For me, shooting guns is still fairly new, so the sights seemed to do what they were supposed to do. I mean, so it seemed about average to me, where you line it up, the shot goes where you want it to, so 3 out of 5.
Let's talk about the trigger. I didn't like the trigger on this very much. It felt awkward. It was a nice short reset, so doing strings was nice, but it still felt sticky almost, and it was not, this trigger was not as good as what comes in your standard Glock, so I'm going to give it a 2.
I do have to say that shooting this gun was very difficult, in the sense that I would pull the trigger expecting it to fire, and then it wouldn't fire. And I'd pull it back a little bit further, and it still wouldn't fire. So I just seemed to have a really hard time finding where the actual trigger point was, where it would actually fire. So I actually gave it a 1, because it just really didn't feel good. It made me feel less confident about holding that gun than I'm sure it was designed to, so didn't like it at all.
Alright, let's talk about perceived recoil. This gun at this size, being a compact gun that still has a 4-inch barrel, there shouldn't be a lot of recoil to it, and I'm going to give it a 3. It was an average standard. There wasn't anything exceptional about it. It didn't dampen recoil, but it wasn't unpleasant to shoot either. I didn't feel. So, 3.
For me, being a new shooter, getting used to the recoil is something that is going to be more difficult for me, and the 9mm does have enough of a kick to it that you are going to feel that recoil, especially for me as a smaller person, much more than somebody who's bulkier. So I gave the recoil actually 2 out of 5. It made it difficult to reset, or even to do 2 rapid fire shots, so to speak, to consecutively hit the same spot twice even, so
Sure.
It just had to compensate a lot because of the recoil.
Well, let's talk about the next part. Let's talk about accuracy. If you watched me shooting this gun, you're convinced at this point in the video that I am not a pistol shooting instructor. I'm an imposter. I did not shoot this gun well at all. In fact, I've never shot a gun as poorly in my life as I shot the FMK.
Really?
But I had no idea where my shots were going, and it showed. And I'm giving this gun a 1 for accuracy.
I thought for the most part it was fairly accurate, even though the trigger wasn't the best and the recoil was a little off. When I actually shot the gun, it did seem to go where I wanted it to go. So yeah, for accuracy, I would give this one a standard 3 out of 5. It did what it was supposed to do.
Let's talk ease of reload. This gun, for all that it has, the magazine release button here is extended. It sticks out, so it's easy to find. The magazines didn't drop clean. When you push the magazine release button, the magazines had a tendency to simply needed pulled out. So I'm going to give it a less than average score of 3. I'm going to give ease of reload, I'm going to give it a 2.
I've got smaller hands, and because it sticks out, but sticks out so high, it did seem to be a little awkward on the actual hitting the button to release it. And it did, yeah, seem to stick a little bit, so it seemed to take a little bit more effort than what should be standard, I guess. So yeah, I would have to give it a 2 out of 5.
Let's talk about reliability. I actually had no problems with this gun. It cycled all the ammo that we ran through it. It worked clean. I'm giving it a 4.
For me, the reliability was not as strong as for you. Every time I fired this gun, or at least the majority of the time when I had to fire it, I had to push this slide back into place. Every time I fired, it wouldn't set right, so I'd have to push it back into place, fire it, push it back into place again. So for that reason, I gave it a 2 out of 5.
We've got one last thing. Let's talk about ease of maintenance. It was very easy. There are no extra parts to set aside that you might lose, and it was very clean, and I'm going to give it a 4.
I did just get to stand by and watch, and that's basically all my experience when it comes to taking apart guns and putting them back together. So I would have to give it just a 3 out of 5, just for lack of experience and lack of understanding of what's good and what's not.
Well, if you take our 8 categories and total them up, strangely enough, 24 is what I came up with.
Mine came out to only 20 points. It just wasn't a gun that I would pick up and want to have. So
the manufacturer suggested retail price for this gun is $409. And the street value for this, since most places don't charge full retail, the street value on this gun is about $350. So with our impressions of it, if you're interested in the gun, if you can get it at a decent price where it's markedly less than the $350 range, pick it up, give it a whirl. Maybe the things we didn't like about it will be different for you. But I wouldn't go looking for it if it's above the $350 and closer to the $409 range.
All right, well, that about sums it up for this episode. Thank you all so much for stopping by today. Now, if you enjoyed this video, take those crosshairs of yours and point them at that like button down below. And stay tuned for more reviews coming soon. See you then.